They call it patriotism, but we call it what it is: pure, unfiltered bullshit. Welcome to Bluebird on Your Shoulder, where we cut through the MAGA madness with brutal honesty and zero apologies. No sugarcoating, no fake civility, just three guys, middle-aged and pissed off, breaking down the absurdity of right-wing delusion one episode at a time. If you think America deserves better than conspiracy theories and cult worship, you're in the right place. Liberal? Hell yes. Woke? Not a chance. We're here to roast the madness, expose the lies, and call out the grift. Because the only thing worse than MAGA's nonsense is pretending it makes sense. New episodes every week. Buckle up.
We're back. It's Bluebird on your shoulder for another fun and exciting episode of the Russian Dancing Bear Circus. Led by I saw a new one today that was really, really good. Um, what was it? Oh yeah, the Manchurian Orange. So I really like that one a lot, dude. I put that one up there with the Mango Mussolini. So
Wouldn't it be the Manchurian Mandarin?
that would be even better, but that's not what I saw. So
Right.
I can't misquote somebody else. Wasn't my original idea, but that was your original idea, and I like that one too. Uh, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about, and also there's I think because it's definitely happening to me, right? So, and I think it could be happening around. There's a lot of exhaustion
Yeah,
setting in
fatigue.
and
Yep,
fatigue, and like it's by design.
it is.
I understand that it's by design, but it doesn't stop the reality of the mental assault. Like if you live in this realm and you actually care, and it's the de-evolution creating policies can be changed, right? And I'm not to the point where I think we're not going to have an election. There's definitely some smoke signals out there that I'm not ignoring, but I haven't seen enough yet for certain things, right? Like I'm not like gone there, but at the same time, it's like Jesus. Like this is overwhelming because it's every day it just gets stupider. And
Well,
he
and like
continuously,
one of the things that we saw this week was that that Congress has kind of signaled that they don't have an appetite for pursuing limiting judges or impeaching judges. So as long as the judicial branch keeps stepping up to the plate where Congress won't, I think that we may survive this yet.
well,
Um,
yeah, because at this point he's still mostly listening to judicial order, why he has, Timu Grovels um, running around on Fox News every other day giving his fucking neo-American Nazi speeches.
oh, is he back out
So,
and about? I haven't
oh
seen.
yeah, dude, Timo Grovels is all over the place. So it's Grobles, but whatever. He's Grovels because he's groveling at the feet of the
Right.
orange man. Um, little punny. Um, but it's just too. It gets to be a lot, right? And like I'm mentally exhausted. Just
Yeah.
keeping up, like and knowing what's happening. Like I usually spend a third of my free time on like news sources, multitudes of news sources, like
Yeah.
all kinds of media. Then I spend a third of my time in the, trench, and otherwise known as swasta Twitter. So, where white nationalism runs rampant, or my algorithm doesn't like me, one of the two. And then the other third of my time, I usually spend like entertaining myself, be it a TV show or a video game or TikTok. I've been finding myself in the other three more over the last week than before. Um, but one of the things that is going on that's very interesting to me is them actually defunding Harvard because you don't like their policies,
Yeah.
because they won't bend the knee, because they refuse to bend the knee, because they know the price of bending the knee, and it has nothing to do with Harvard, and it has everything to do with, I mean, Harvard's in Boston, the birthplace of the revolution, right? Where like the Constitution like came to life, started breathing. You know what I'm saying? It was a long time till it was done, but that's where it was born, and they defend that institution. Like, you don't get to tell us. So, but then the trade is the federal government doesn't have to give them money, but
Right.
they don't use the money to buy Porsches. They're the number one cancer research institution in the world. They
Well,
use
that's
a
probably
lot of
why he
that.
doesn't want to give him money right there, is he's already taking away, efforts and money for, you know, child cancer research and
Well, that's how a lot
various
of the
other researches in general. So why would he want money going to something he's trying to get rid of?
I mean, his big problem with them though is that so he wants them to institute. He's pressed a few, like Columbia caved. You know what I'm saying? Some of these institutions have caved, right? But he's pressing them that like people who lead protests that are anti-Israel shouldn't be allowed, and they should be kicked out of the school.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And the school's like, we're not going to do that because the First Amendment.
Right.
And you're not going to tell us to do that because the First Amendment. And then they do have kind of a flex like, hey, the greatest lawyers in the world come from this school. Like, the great lawyers in the world try to go to Harvard and be on Harvard Law Review, right?
Right.
So many Supreme Court clerks are Harvard graduates, right?
Yeah.
The major law firms in New York City and LA are Harvard graduates.
Yep.
The new major firms in Tokyo and Shanghai and you know what I'm Beijing are Harvard graduates. Like there's a reason for it, right? Like
Yep.
you want to go to Broadway, you go to Juilliard. You want to be a lawyer and you want to be great, you go to Harvard.
Yep.
So they're like, our lawyers are better. You can't do this. Like, lawyers' job is to interpret the Constitution, and what you're telling us to do is unconstitutional. Therefore, we will not. And so he wants to take their money away. It's like, listen to me, or I'll take your funding. And I mean, so we grew up, right? And you can still go to our neighbor state, like when we were like mid-range aged, right? Like, and get alcohol at 18 years old, and you know what I'm saying? You could
Mhm.
do that, right? And the
In the
federal government,
drive-through.
yeah, the federal government pulled that by saying if you don't move your age to 21, we'll take your road funding away.
Yeah.
And that's why Ohio finally caved, right? So they were the last state to go to 21 because of that. You're doing the same thing with like higher learning, but then you're pulling funding that it's not hurting the people you're even mad at. It doesn't hurt the law school. The people
Right.
who go to that school are stupid rich.
Right.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's people who go there who win scholarships and are some of the brightest minds in the country and get full rides for being like, wow, brilliant. But for the most part, in that way it's true. It's an academy of elitism.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
it is.
a lot of what they pay for is the access to the you know,
Elitism.
yeah.
So, but whatever, it is what it is, right? Like, it doesn't mean that they didn't earn that elite status. Like, we don't do that in any other aspect of American society, right? Like, so if an athlete reaches pinnacle, right, and it's phenomenal, I mean, the haters are going to hate, and that's always the reality, right? Everyone hates greatness to some degree. But everyone's like, oh my God, look at that athlete. He's great. You know, we should give him, would you do this, right? Like you're lauded, you're applauded, right? If a race car driver is like that, if a movie actor is like, damn, oh, this shit's great, right? Like we do that, in every aspect of the world except for with intelligent people. For some reason, they're arrogant.
Yeah.
You tell me Allen Iverson wasn't arrogant, right? Doesn't mean he wasn't lauded and applauded, right? Like,
True.
and the Chinese culture does laud the intelligence. They also laud the athlete, but they laud the intelligent ones.
Well, they celebrate anybody that focuses on a task and does it as
Pinnacle.
yeah, the
Yeah,
pinnacle
reaching the
of
pinnacle, right?
yeah.
And so Harvard reaches the pinnacle. And they don't
Mhm.
even reach the pinnacle in this country. In a lot of areas, they reach the pinnacle of the world.
Right.
We
Right.
You're supposed to be America first. There's not many things more worldwide American than Harvard University. Our
Yeah.
flag, our military, and maybe this jackass. So, but for the most part, there's no, right? Like Harvard, you go to a random street person in the Philippines, they're going to know who Michael Jordan is and what Harvard is. You know what I'm saying? They're going to know that. They're going to know those are American institutions, right? Like it's just a
Right.
thing. And you're going to take money from them because they told you no. Like you're a giant buffoon and a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the amount that I've really truly realized how afraid and insecure MAGA males are.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm not saying all of them, right? There's some bad motherfuckers in that group for sure. Right? They exist. They're there. I've seen them. Like those dudes that I think twice and I've never thought twice. So you know what I'm saying? But majority of them, no. You know what I'm saying? But they're so scared. What are you
Oh,
so
they're
afraid
insecure
of?
because they were told that, that peaking in high school wasn't something to be proud of. That that being a chauvinistic, bigot isn't cool anymore. You can't be popular by making fun of other people. So, it left them feeling like, what do I have? And, they looked at their job and realized that they didn't have shite.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's the a lot of it, right? Like it's
anxiety and fear. So,
like, and there's a difference, like I was talking about, right? Like some of the badasses they are like trade workers,
oh yeah.
like carpenter, electrician. You know what I'm saying? Uh, combat veteran, things of that nature, right? Like, but it's the guy that picks orders at Amazon warehouse that tattoos the American flag on his fucking pecker. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's got
Yeah.
Donald Trump's picture on his fucking right cheek. Like,
Yeah.
those are the guys who are like, you're so soft and you're so insecure and you're so afraid. And it's because you're not a man. Like, you're afraid that another man, an illegal man, might hurt you, or at least that's what they sell you, and you buy it because you're
Yeah.
afraid they may do it. Um, yeah, um, I've been should have been afraid a lot of times. I wasn't. So definitely was stupid for sure. Look back, numerous. I don't know how, especially me and you made it.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be here. Like, but
I think
nothing
often
stopped us.
of the me and when me and Sam jumped off that bridge in Kentucky,
Yeah,
like there's no reason why we should have lived through that. That was so stupid.
right. Stupid. So, but it's just a right. It's a. I have a healthy fear about the future the kids are gonna have. I have a healthy fear about making sure that the people I take care of are taken care of.
hmm
But
Yep.
I'm not afraid of another man. I'm not afraid of another idea.
Right.
I'm
And that's
afraid
what
of I'm afraid of this lack of ideas.
that's
Yeah.
that's what it is that they don't have the capacity to ingest information on in a large way and process that into how it relates to their life. So that's why they resort to, simple messaging, make America great. Like that's an idea that they can, yeah, 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 great, great, great's a great word, instead of, the ideals and the morals and the pursuits that America, you know, went through in order to be great. That's too much. That's too much for them to think about. That's too much for them to put up with. So, that's why they fear growth in society when it comes to accepting a minority. Every single time a minority is asked for equal rights, it has always been a push where they resisted the change. Women, blacks, browns, gays, like the list will keep on going.
Liberals.
Right. Yeah, well, that's
So
that's what it's
that's
been
the
boiled
new
down
one.
to is
That's the
is
new
they
one.
were given a single enemy to be afraid of or to hate instead of like having all that anxiety about how do I act? How do I, how should I call a guy that has a beard but lipstick on? Like, do I call him a him, her? No, you're just a libtard. They
Oh
simplify
yeah.
that anxiety into a fear that they could get behind, and that's what this is.
Well, yeah, it's so in dehumanizing tactics, right? Like libtard. Whatever, dehumanize me. It's fun, cute. So I know you can't love me. It's fine. But ultimately, like the other thing, and this is very like both sides, I think, in a lot of ways, do this extremely large and the concept that two things can't coexist or can't both be wrong or both be right. Like a lot of like, okay, like the lady that like my name is, right? Well, here, the little Shiloh lady. If you don't know who she is, you should just look up Shiloh on TikTok. You'll see it all. But she runs around and drops the hard R on a little African American child who supposedly is autistic. Like, I don't know, right? Maybe. Irrelevant. It's obviously definitely not white. So she's yelling the hard R at him, and another person is recording, right? And supposedly that person's a pedophile. I don't know, but also irrelevant to what she's doing, right? He's
Right.
just recording. Like, so the video isn't real because the guy recording is a pedophile. That's strange to me because the recording is definitely real and she stood on business. And that's what I will give her. When she was confronted for being racist, 10 toes down. She was like, yep, I don't give a fuck. So okay, at least you said the loud part out loud, which is happening more often.
Yeah, well,
But
they're emboldened. Yeah.
so that conversation is going on, right? And she's raising money to protect her family. She found a grift, because like she got doxxed out, and they donated a lot of money to her, and then the liberals are obviously in that space, like, wow, like you can use the hard R and get a video recorded, and you become a millionaire. And that'll be
No,
a really
he's
bad
meaning the
idea.
N word with the hard R on
Oh,
the
okay.
end.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, dude, I'm way too white to even use the soft A. It's 2025, bro. But so she's made almost a million. So I'm afraid of what that's going to do in itself, right? For copycat situations.
Yeah.
Sure.
But so liberals are putting it out there like, wow, you're going to be openly racist and be a millionaire and do this and do that and do this. And then MAGA's coming in with, what about Carmelo Anthony? So they can't attract or stab the white boy at the track meet, right? That we talked about, right? Like, so
Yeah, the one that
what
defended
about
himself.
him, right? What about him? What about this? What about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? Just what aboutism after? What aboutism after? What else? But what happened? Like, so if he did stab him and it was murder, it's wrong. And what
Sure.
she did was wrong.
Yep.
And so how come that whataboutism can even work? Because they're
Oh,
both wrong.
Because
If they're both
because
true, they're both wrong.
right.
because they can't hold arguments or discussions because they're not intelligent enough. So their next line of defense is to change topic or deflect.
Yep. Or just
Because they have nothing valid to back up their stance other than, well, what about this?
yeah.
Well, it's apples to peaches, like, and then you're going peaches to watermelons, like it's not the same thing.
And then
Yeah,
they
but the
jump right
problem is,
into it ad hominem attacks.
Yeah.
So yeah,
well,
I mean
whatever.
it's
I jump into ad hominem text too, so
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't
You
blame.
you
But
you are
here's my point though. Yes, I think you might be right on the MAGA side, and I think there's a little more to it, and a little influencer, but the left does it too.
well,
And they are
yes, there
intelligent,
are
and like
the
this is my problem, that like we have what we have because half of us believe we're right and the other party's completely wrong. The other half of us believe they're right and the other party is the devil. Okay. And we're starting to believe the other party's the devil too. Like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's exhausting me.
Yeah.
But a big part of that is because both can't be right or both can't be wrong anymore. And if we can agree that both things are wrong, then maybe we can agree that deporting American citizens are wrong. Maybe we can agree that defunding an institution because they want to keep their First Amendment rights is wrong. Maybe we can agree that signal chatting confidential top secret military strike information is a fireable. And it doesn't have to be because he's the, delirious dreamsicle. It doesn't. Right? Like, when is that? And right now, I think we have elections today. I'm pretty sure it goes really poorly. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at every election since he's been elected, that's been proven so far. The left has come back, won under massive underdog. An American moderate, because he's like 50-50, was just elected Pope.
Yeah.
That's a massive loss to the right. Sorry, it is. The only thing they could have done is take the protege, who would have been the super progressive Pope, right? But he would have said that, he would have done things Catholic Church ain't ready for. So I'm glad she didn't go that way. But just every election that's happening throughout the world, and even like the super far right institutions like Belarus, are starting to have issues because the world sees this extreme stupidity. Like, we just named, who is this? The Surgeon General? Is that who the lady
from Fox News?
I don't know. No, that was a district attorney, U.S. district attorney, acting district attorney of D.C. Yeah, but listen, that woman actually has her credentials.
Yeah.
She went to law school. She was a lawyer. She was a judge. She, you know what I'm saying? She was a DA. She was an assistant DA, right?
Yeah,
she has credentials. Well, yeah,
years.
There's that, but she has credentials. Sure. This woman, it's like Surgeon General. I do believe it's the Surgeon General.
Oh no, he took that one back.
Kimberly Means?
Yeah. He took that one back.
You already pull it back?
Yeah.
Oh, because you found out she didn't finish her residency. She's not a doctor.
Yeah, she doesn't have a medical degree.
She does have a medical degree.
Well, not
but she didn't finish her residency. She's not a doctor. She's not. You have to, like, there's things you got to do. That's what I'm saying. So Jeanine Pirro, as crazy as that is, she's done the things.
Yeah.
This woman didn't do the things. And you're going to make her the top doctor? She's not a doctor. She's got a medical degree. I'm going to be honest with you. It's 2025. If I wanted to study, I could probably get a medical degree. But I couldn't go do it. I couldn't go, you know what I'm saying? Go do a residency and a intern and all that, whatever. They got to do some stuff. I watch Grey's Anatomy, a couple of the ER, you know what I'm saying? The Pulse is pretty good. Pitt
go back to House. I'm rewatching.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely House too, right? But that's the kind of doctor I would actually be. So probably not good, right? So yeah, but I couldn't, but I could go get the medical degree and just never do the rest. And now I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
And so, like, I didn't know he pulled her back. So thank Jesus on that. But it was the thing. And then right before we started, I want you to bring this up or talk about this, or somebody bring this up. So, like, Rubio v. Vance.
Yeah.
I don't like Vance, and we'll leave that there, right? So he looked like, I don't know, bro. I'd be trying to imagine what his Care Bear name would be if he was one of the Care Bears, bro. Because he just, I don't know. That's what I'd be thinking about. But Rubio. So what I've noticed, so like, we did fire Waltz.
Yep.
Right? And we got Rubio is now the acting, and he doesn't know shit about that, but we'll leave that on that. But it seems like he's hey, you're the only one around that actually knows what they're doing, so we're gonna put you in charge of everything.
He actually has a level head. Like, that was one thing during that, craziness during Trump's first run. He was one of the players on the field that I actually felt like, I could, if I had to choose one of them, he was one of the ones on that ballot. So, because even though he wanted, even though he's too far right, he at least knew how to negotiate. He had some things that he didn't want to go after, immigrants and stuff like that. He wanted to go and reform immigration, and that's the right answer.
Yeah.
So like he actually had some decent stuff going on that I could have gotten behind. But he was too quick to jump into the cesspool that Trump created when he got in there. And so he kind of lost his way, but um he is one that I think has some staying power in the Republican Party. And I think that, I mean, I keep thinking about that picture of him sitting in that couch, just looking like a little kid,
Yeah.
like, what the fuck did I get in?
No, he honestly, yes, maybe he looked like a little kid in certain perceptions, but I think he looked like he looked like whatever sober friend that we were all on LSD. That's what he looked like.
Well,
Right?
no,
No, he was the guy like, oh fuck, what I get myself into.
yeah,
I'm really around all these morons right now
right.
doing absolute ludicrous things that should
Yeah,
not be done. You
exactly.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm supposed to be in charge of them. Like I'm supposed to
Yeah.
be helping them out here. Like I'm the one they look up to right now. And I don't even
Or
want to be
JJ.
anymore. I know I want my yeah, right. Like I want my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like but there's supposedly a Vance versus Rubio, and you were talking about that, and I don't know much about that because I just like I said, I see his name and I'm like, what would your character name be? And I haven't figured it out yet. Until I do, that's all I'm gonna think.
Well,
Well, I
so I think they're both young enough that what we were talking about was, a little blip that where Vance said that he actually likes Rubio, that, they don't have any kind of beef or anything like that. I think that they might have been kind of being discussed as two potential candidates in the future because they're still both fairly young. They both have some tread left on those tires. And so, well, I'm speaking from like if I was there, in that party, that those would be two that I would be kind of looking at. JD Vance is slimy enough that he could, chameleon himself into a presidential run if he could get donors. And, you know, and Rubio's got he's got some clout somewhere. I don't know exactly where his money comes from, but he's got enough to elevate himself up there like that.
I think we'll find out how far right they both truly are as amongst the others. If MAGA is going to last after this administration, or if it's going to return to somewhat of the norm of the Republican Party, because they're he's done after this one. So are they going to start positioning themselves and come back a little more towards the middle instead of being so extreme to position themselves for a run without having to worry about what he's going to say and do because it's not going to matter? I
I,
mean,
I
we got
yeah,
a year and a half basically, and
Start seeing the
they're
light.
gonna
Yeah.
start,
I think whether MAGA
campaigning
die,
for
no, I think whether MAGA dies or not, the answer to that question will come in the 26 midterms.
absolutely.
If we even come close to super majorities in both, which there are betting markets out there showing this could happen, um, and we impeach him and give him the old
Yeah,
boot Scootingtons, and we'll obviously
because they've
impeach
got
the care.
articles ready.
Right, right. Well, we'll impeach the Care Bear. He's
Yeah,
got to go. And then we obviously fire the whole cabinet, right? Like that's how they
right.
do that.
Right.
And then you figure out like the Senate pro temp resigns the day before you do that, and then Speaker of the House becomes the president. Points the right. That's it's a political coup. It's in the Constitution though. It's just never been used,
Right.
right? So, but that's what it automatically is. But it's a political coup based on obviously if the election goes that way, the will of the people,
I'm
right?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that they won't go all the way to pull Vance. They'll remove Trump and then Vance will
Well,
finish
Vance will probably go back to
representation.
being 2015 Vance who couldn't stand the motherfucker and thought he was what he was or what he actually is.
I'm
And so they
concerned that
said
if
it.
we try to impeach and it doesn't work yet again, like we've never removed before for anybody, that it has a negative effect on the Democrats' chance for 28.
True. I mean, no, I don't think they.
Nah, I
You
think
impeach
that
without.
we if
I don't think you actually impeach without the supermajority in both. And if you have the super, it means you have the votes. That would
Yeah.
be what 67 Senate seats. Phew. That's almost a
yeah
sweeping
you
what's
yeah
available,
Well,
right?
and
It's
I
almost a
mean,
sweeping what's available, right? And that's going to be really hard to do
yeah.
unless the people in this country are that fuck this shit. You know what I'm
yeah
saying?
Well,
if they're actually
and
waking
it's
up.
But that
possible
core,
if we get close to the supermajority, it could be possible that some GOPs defect, and vote to remove because, one of the things while I was bringing up, does MAGA die after this administration is because of how many outbursts and, like arguments are happening on the floor between the own party because they're tired of the shit and they're starting to see the failures of what their future looks like come future elections.
yeah,
I
but
think
yeah, that's what it is, right? Politics is politics, though, right? So if they don't think that they're gonna continue to keep their seat, then they ain't fucking doing it, dude.
Right. Yeah.
So because like I said, what I asked for last week is Congress needs to step up and be the great sacrifice. That's never going to actually happen because they're
Right.
also pussies.
Yeah.
So, but I think the midterms have a lot there, and it could be the death. Now, the core of MAGA, the rotted oak, fucking moldy under the pressure heart of MAGA. That's unfortunately going to be 10 generations. They're about to deal with that shit. So unless I don't know though, because it looks weird to me, but maybe it's on. There's got to be illegal shit going on right now. Like severe, like there's always illegal shit going on. I'm not stupid. All government is corrupt to a certain level because human beings are corrupt because human beings are fucked.
Yeah.
So, but there's got to be some shit going on right now. And if we did impeach him, we found all the shit, we arrested all of them, and then threw them. Dude, it's just, I think it dies with Gen X in the long run to a certain degree, but I think like it becomes a legend, right? Like we're gonna be old as shit, and people are gonna like, so what was it like during MAGA days,
Yeah.
right?
It'd be like,
Like,
yeah, it'd be
like,
in
look,
history books about a MAGA movement. Yeah.
right? Yeah, we're learning about MAGA. What was that
It'd be
like? And
it'd be like MAGA
I
movement
said,
like Black Panther. Like
all I'm gonna say, dude, is this so bad it made a pandemic show up. That's all I'm gonna say. So that's you know what I mean. Like, but I'm super curious as to I see what you're saying and like wondering if it's gonna die and no longer I think both political parties are forever fractured at this point. So because there's a good I think the whole of the left is now ready for whatever reason, like even the whatever reason they didn't before, are all ready to like, okay, we gotta swallow the pill. You know what I'm saying? And vote for the blue no matter who, right? Like I think a lot of them who were resistant to that are cool. I think there are some moderate Republicans who have already made that move. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a group of true conservatives, right? And that true conservatives split in two. You have your true conservatives and you have your evangelical conservatives, right?
yeah.
Um, I don't think there'll ever be enough anymore to be a party on themselves. Like I think the only thing that works truly moving forward is a four-party or system minimum. It's not going to happen here.
Never. No.
Never
The
gonna. Like I've
oligarchy's
said
not going to let.
multiple times, not without violence or a
Yeah.
disaster that kills a lot
Well,
of people.
if
So
we get to the point where both can be wrong and both can be right, then maybe we can accept the fact that the oligarchy should be, 1792 France.
yeah, I mean we've got to eat some rich people for
You
to
know
have
what I'm
it
saying?
semi
Like,
peacefully,
yeah,
you know.
like the top half percent, top 12, yeah, top 12 families in America, $1 trillion richer. I don't know. One of you might have shared that. I might have saw that somewhere else. I don't.
If
But that's
I
the
know I
height of
just
the
saw
oligarchy. It definitely referenced the oligarchy too, right? Which that was a thing before MAGA, and I think MAGA getting shit on for that solely. The oligarchy's been a thing for a long time. It's been a thing since we were young.
Yeah.
It
yeah,
was coming into it's been a thing since Reagan. That's what right? That was the
people
beginning of
down,
it.
yeah.
And I really don't think that was necessarily his intention back
No.
then, but that's what has happened, right? That's in game reality.
Well, he
So
was an actor. He was given data from economists that, wanted to get richer off of the money that they currently had in the stock market. So they came up with this idea where, this will drive the economy, I swear,
Me too. Where do I sign? So if I can figure out what this guy's going to like next, it'd be great. So, but then there's the other thing, right? So he's the peace president.
Right.
No new wars. Fucking hate that shit. But he's dropped more bombs than Obama. That's official now.
Yeah.
And that's I'm gonna be real with you. He's dropped more bombs in 4.25 years than Obama did in 8, and Obama dropped the fucking bombshell. I'm just gonna let you know that that
he
man
was
made drones great again.
right.
Like so, you know what I mean? Like, and he supported Ukraine, and all that jazz, and
Zelensky said today that he talked with
Yeah.
Trump and that he supports the ceasefire that Trump is trying to demand. I think
but does the
that's
ceasefire come with any concessions, right? Like the concession, like the Russians seem unable, or I don't want to go into Russia, Ukraine either, because it's all horse shit. Because people actually think the Ukraine doesn't have a right to defend itself and shouldn't be helped, and that's fucking horse shit.
yeah.
Um, so
I think it's ridiculous that people think that we shouldn't be involved when we gave them our word,
right.
so that they would
Well, he was going to end that war on the first day because he's the peace president. It's peace through strength. That didn't. Yemen's going to stop attacking our ships because we're going to blow them to high hell. We have definitely been blowing them to high hell. They're definitely still attacking our ships, and we are
Houthis are
definitely
still doing just
keep
fine.
losing planes off of the side of aircraft carriers. So there's obviously something wrong here. Could you please stop dropping the $200 million plane into the fucking ocean, please? Like, don't do that. That's not a thing we're supposed to do. But they're still attacking the ships, right? It's still happening. So you fucking failed at that too. You were gonna Greenland was gonna be super happy to come. That didn't happen. Canada was gonna be the 51st state. Mark Carney just came here and told him to his face, fuck off.
Yeah.
That's never gonna happen. He's been
Right.
like, have you noticed that the setup with him, like, so it is a traditional White House setup for these types of things, but most presidents like alternate what they do. Like sometimes it's in the East Room, sometimes it's in the Oval, sometimes it's in right. Like they move on the lawn, right? Like they move it around, but like he has all these meetings with the foreign leader with the same two, gold chairs, and they're facing right. That setup, which is common and has been used for a long time, right, with different scenarios. Every time he is in that scenario, he gets ate the fuck up.
Oh yeah.
Like the Italian prime was here, and she's kind of like on the right, like farther right
When you
than
get fucked
most.
up by the French, you're
Yeah,
weak,
but that's what it is. He just loses in that room every time. So there's
Yeah.
that. Um, he's absolutely positively getting decimated by China in the tariff fight. And China literally did nothing, as we've talked about, other than say, okay, we're not going to buy your food anymore. We'll wait.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
there's no boats. But so all of this is happening, and then India launches a full scale attack on Pakistan in return for a terrorist attack, very 9/11 esque,
Right.
right? Like a little bit more traditional terrorist attack, but very 9/11 esque, right? Um,
Still denied by Pakistan though. Like, of course.
but we've been trying to pivot into India really hard before and after the tariff conversation. So you're going to tell me we didn't know? And you're going to let the two nuclear powers who got like a almost DMZ type border, except for it's not demilitarized.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
do the like march off every day, right? I don't know, that shit looks cool, but they wear the same uniform but different because of the same people but different. Kind of sounds like, you know, but now they're on the verge of full scale war, which could lead to, and a majority of MAGA are like not our problem.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Brown.
I mean,
So would we get
I fucking hope it's not our problem. Like if it does pop off, I hope they don't fucking drop 11 nukes on each other
well,
because they have it.
yeah, that's why it is our problem. You know,
They don't understand
we've
that.
been that
That's
voice
science.
as that has said, you're going to come to the table and we're going to work this out. And we've made deals with India and Pakistan has done a lot with NATO as far as providing troops to the Middle East. You know, like we've
I've
done
been
this
Laden.
for years where we really kind of pulled them to the table, said, you're going to sit down and we're going to work this out because we're not going to deal with this area being destabilized. And it's worked, you know, but we
Right?
are no longer that voice of reason. And that's what's scary, you know, because they're popping off because they're, you know, two bullies that have, you know, had a principal telling them, you know, that they can't be in on the same side of the playground. And now they're freaking like, oh shit, let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's concerning to me, like way more than Palestine and Israel, because I mean, let's face it, those two of that's a religious war over areas of land for thousands of years
yeah.
now. Like the Dayans and why they're fighting, it's not a shot.
Yeah, and if Iran was going
But
to get involved in that, they would have done so
yeah,
already.
but yeah,
So
Iran, Pakistan with their capabilities like that just to me indicates that that very well could be the tipping point for an extremely large possible world war.
I think so, right? I
Because
think
it's gonna end up being what will kick that off is they don't stop attacking each other. The wrong person comes to help the wrong person, and then China goes and Russia goes and we go, and then it's game on.
I don't
now,
think China
one
goes for
one
any
thing that I was
reason.
reading was like Mattel is talking about moving a bunch of plants from China to India in order to avoid the Trump tariff, and Trump's, you know, trying to, yeah, following them.
Yep.
The
But that's
country of Mattel.
the country of Mattel, yeah,
And
yeah.
we will not buy one toy from that country. They will have toys coming from that country. Country will have 100% tariffs because he's a fucking moron.
A moron, yes.
That's all.
But
I had to
but what
take
I'm
that one
saying
out.
is that China has relations with India and you know and they've done a lot of the groundwork so that they can be that voice of reason since we're too busy, you know,
No, I think that's what
standing
ends up happening, right?
corner
This is going to be another opportunity for China to take the lead in the world.
yeah, I mean that's like they've been positioning themselves for years. We
Yeah,
we
I'm gonna
talked
be
just
honest.
earlier
Just
about
to stop them from
the
dropping 20
infrastructure.
fucking nukes on each other, I'm here for it.
Well, and that's China doesn't want any of that. They don't want any conflict. They want to trade. They want to become a
They are a
larger portion
superpower.
of the superpowers in the world because they've got the population, they've got the
The,
technology, they've
the
got the
infrastructure.
money now,
The
and
infrastructure.
they put themselves out there where they're working. You know, they're giving people grants for infrastructure. They're helping people in Africa. They're doing deals and
And their engineers consistently do the impossible.
yeah,
They said they built that bridge they put up. They said it could never be done. They did it in 10 years. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
They have bullet trains that have never wrecked that do you know what I'm saying? Which just celebrated 60 years. They've had bullet trains for 60 years. Like their engineers are really good. They're really,
Oh
really good.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I've seen them
But
fix their highways and they can do a whole highway in one day. And it takes us 6 years, 12 months, and 2 days.
they
So,
have
Do
but
four
yeah,
apocalypse.
they have machines that like literally tear up the top layer and lay down on the back side. Like
Yeah.
they're recycling in the
yeah,
same machine. It's
because
crazy.
they're engineers
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
are
the
Because they
phenomenal
value education over there
exactly.
also.
That's
because
what
they laud the intelligent, right? And
right.
now
Now
we
it
cut the
comes full
knees off it
circle.
because
Yeah.
the intelligent make them feel inferior.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
feel inferior in every single way, and they have their whole lives, and this is the new way for them to feel inferior.
Yep.
But what you were saying, I think the main reason why it's not Palestine, Israel, is because these are two fully formidable,
Yeah,
modernized
nuclear
Oh,
militaries.
capable.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I was
But
saying. The nuclear
modern
capabilities, that's
militaries,
what makes it
right?
even more
Like,
scary.
well, not just the
Like,
nuclear; they're fully modernized armies,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so, and it's just like holy shit, and like you said nothing, like not even like no, don't, bad,
Yeah.
stop, wait,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
not
we
even a
haven't.
play pretend at it. Not a word. Not a fucking
Yeah,
word.
our ambassadors there aren't doing shite.
So,
Most of them are worried about having to come home and find a new job. They've already talked about closing like 800
Yeah.
embassy
Embassies. Yeah.
locations.
Yep.
So,
we're truly going the isolationist route. And,
oh, for
like, I
sure.
don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, the policies can be changed. Sooner or later, they can be changed. They can be altered. And it will take some time. But the cultural damage, the cultural setback to where we have open racism again,
Yeah.
like forced segregation time period, right? Like Dr. King never existed. That's what we're back to, right? Like, so we're there, right? And it's like not everybody in MAGA. Well, I'm not ready. You know what? But you stand on the side that is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then their whataboutism to that is, well, you're racist against white people, and I'm like, bro, I'm talking on a podcast Twitter, and you can literally go see me on camera, and it doesn't matter which one you think I am. We're all white.
Right.
So, like, I'm definitely not racist against white people, but I'm also not fragile because I'm
Yeah.
white people, and I kind of understand what happened. And as much as I don't think it's directly my fault, I can tell you about being in a place and looking at something that made me feel like it was directly my fault.
Yeah.
So, and tear me down into pieces. I never thought I could be torn to for some shit I definitely didn't do and have never supported. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Because that shit really did happen. So, and there's some shit there. And I get why there's some shit there. I'd be mad too. You know what I'm saying? You can't even let somebody call your sister a hoe, and you want to be doing dumb shit, but they're just supposed to forgive all those hundreds of years of treatment like that. And then not just like I said, that's nobody alive was a slave. You're right. Nobody alive was a slave. There's a shitload of people alive that were in the segregated South, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, so
There are still people that have to walk by Jim Crow statues that were meant to intimidate them
Yeah.
into
well,
not being
I mean,
who they
it,
are and be
it
equals.
right. It reminds me like we were in college, right? And we went down on that service learning 1 week class during spring break to Alabama and into the Black Belt of Alabama and Uniontown, Selma, Montgomery, right? Like we're in that area and we were still college kids, and so nighttime was still going to be party time, so we were out buying the alcohol, and we learned what ABC stores were because we had to like get get the beer at the grocery store, but we couldn't get liquor at the grocery store. We had to go to ABC. So we're walking from the grocery to the ABC down the street. And that, like 80, 85-year-old black man with his cane and his hat on was walking towards us. And I was at the lead. And there was like 17 white people in a town that suddenly had 17 white people in it because before there was 17 white college kids
Yep.
from Indiana there was no white people in the town. So, and he like stopped and put his back to the wall and like stopped walking and put his head down. And I stopped because I read language well and I didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
Remember? And we all stopped and nobody, because I wouldn't go and he wouldn't go. And then our professor, who was from the area, came up and was like, "Why did you say, well, we all moved over to let him by and he stopped. I don't know what's going on." He's like, "You won't walk past him." Why? Because you're white. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're white. What? I don't understand that. He's
Yeah.
the senior. I looked at it as he's my
Old
elder.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'll respect him.
Mhm.
It didn't look at his skin. No, he won't. Like Ryan, he had to tell me, right? He had to force. And then I made us jaywalk across the
Yeah.
street because I
Yeah.
wouldn't walk past him to prove to
Yeah.
him that no, dude, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
we walked, we
And
jaywalked
we
across the
and
street.
we had to swallow that pill from our professor who was black.
Yes. So, and that's what he took. He will not walk past you because you were white. And
Yeah.
this is '04.
Yeah.
So you know what?
Yeah.
05,
Yeah.
04, 05, right? So,
05.
Yeah, it might have been spring of '05. I think it was
yeah.
spring of
Yeah,
'05.
I think so.
So, but yeah, so the '04, '05 year, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and that's lived with me forever because
Oh
I'm
yeah.
still to date flabbergasted. I'm some 20 something, and you won't walk past me because I'm a white man. Because if you would have walked a white man at one point in his living life,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
if he would have walked past a white man, he could have died for it.
Yeah.
And then people want to say that like it's bullshit. No, it's not. It's a, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And I was educated and did understand.
And we
I
also learned about what the real poverty in America, what that looks like,
well, yeah,
in a
the
school, in
no,
a
so
school.
yes, the complete I tell that story often. One science book for the whole grade,
Yeah.
right? I tell that finding that out often because everyone's given an equal opportunity.
Yeah.
Bullshit. I've
Yeah.
seen it firsthand. I remember we were tutoring fourth graders and one of them was 15.
Yeah.
And I asked
Yeah.
teacher afterwards, how big is this kid? There's no way. And they're like, oh, he's 15. Excuse
Yeah.
me? We're in fourth grade. What do you mean? No social promotion here.
Yep.
You either pass or you don't. So what's going to happen? Oh, he has one more year and then he'll just drop out.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Everyone's got an equal opportunity, huh? Like, you know what I'm
no
saying? So,
children left behind, right?
right. So poor red states always. But like those moments have happened, right? But now we've made racism great again, and we've empowered white nationalists, and we're empowering Christian nationalists, and we're we're allowing countries to buck up to one another where we never would have before because the implications for the species is not good.
Yeah.
And all of this is happening because all he cares about is seeing himself on TV.
Yep.
And
And getting his flowers.
and he's supported by people who came up into the social media technology, seeing him and then being influenced into believing that those people are the ones that are right. And so we see social influencers and they're being elevated to this place that they didn't earn. And he's the epitome of that. He has been elevated to this place because of his ridiculousness, and he didn't earn any of the power that he has.
Right. And he's voted for by people who've been convinced that things that aren't real are real.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, man, I'm in an area. There's a lot of these people. They're not bad people.
Nope.
They're good. They're good folk.
Most of them.
They're just trying to do. Yeah, they are. But most of them are just trying to do what we were talking about earlier. Same stuff. Make sure their kids have a future and be able to take care of them now. And
Yeah.
that's what pretty much every one of them I rub, arms with want to do. There's some of them that want to burn the world down. I don't personally know any of them, but I see them around and stuff with their
Well, most of
fucking
those guys
giant,
think they're
their
special
giant
because
trucks and their 87 flags and their.
yeah.
I used to think a lifted truck meant you were a 2-incher. I guess that's not true. You were a 4-incher. This guy's a 2-incher. So I found out the difference there, but it's just they are, and I want to find a way to make them understand both can be wrong and both can be right. And if we can start to agree on that, then we can agree that this extremism has to go. And I'm cool to go with the extremism on our side too. The
Yeah.
whataboutism has to go. It has
Yeah.
to go away. Like we can't just say, I mean, it's a literal adult political game of I'm rubber, you're glue.
Yeah.
Like fuck off. Red Rover, send sanity back the fuck over.
Right.
Like, I can't fucking handle it, right? So, but in the long run, like, he keeps coming up with fun stuff. It's very much exciting. And we put ourselves in an interesting predicament, and I think there is some level of awakening happening. Like, I mean, look, there's at least you didn't vote. You're not gonna make that fucking mistake again. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like you're
I
not gonna make that
I
mistake
have
again.
been trying to look at silver linings like that, like, we're learning that the judiciary can actually step up and
Will
limit power when it's being taken, and that's something that hasn't been really tested this far before,
ever.
and yeah, ever. And so this experiment that, we are is coming up on a maturity date. We talked about a couple weeks ago about the 250-year cycle of currency rise and fall. So as you come up on your peak at 250 years, you cross another currency that's coming up, and that you stop being the fiat currency. And we are coming right up on that right now. And
Yeah,
and
literally next year is America's 250th birthday.
Right.
Right. I know. I'm fully aware that we turned 250 with this guy in charge. I'm fully fucking
The
aware.
Navy turns
However,
250
is
this year.
this in multiples of 10? Because if it is, I understand why it only lasts 25 seconds. So before 25 seconds, I reach my peak and then I fall. So
All right.
just saying.
But it really is interesting because we're seeing China's currency on the rise, and our dollar's value is sinking right now into a dangerous place where we could lose our position as the fiat currency, as connectivity allows trade to happen anywhere in the world at any time. We're already seeing trade being done, after hours like it never has been before, which makes it more accessible to everybody in the world at all times instead of the 9 to 5 on the Eastern Seaboard, and other countries having to send their people over here to trade. Instead, they can do it from there because they're moving that fast with their connections. That's why we see some of these undersea connections. They're running cable lines so that they can literally trade on par with New York.
Yeah.
So with that happening, and the concerns that we're having about China kind of taking this role as a sane person, that can make people sit down and actually talk, we have to start looking at, what they have been doing right for so long is they do value education. They do value the pursuit of excellence, and that's why they encourage their young people to pick something that they want to focus on very early. They give them aptitude tests, and then they guide them to what their aptitude says is their strong suit, and that's why they are so much better than we are.
They took our model. It's our exact model, how we did it, and said we're going to do it too. And it's exactly what they're doing, except for now we, instead of evolving, continue to push the model further, we are devolving.
Yeah,
correct.
Exactly right.
Because there's too many people that aren't white in my country now. That's why. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's why, right? Like that's
the world has gotten
the baseline
so big.
I keep seeing.
It's not just because they don't look like me. It's because I don't know what their values are. They could be different. The world has gotten so big, so fast. Oh my God, that's Jurassic Park that I'm quoting right there. But the world has gotten so big so fast that they're realizing that their little pocket of the universe is actually that tiny. And that's scary to a lot of people that just can't fathom that the world doesn't revolve around them.
Right. People who are already that tiny. Got
Exactly.
you. So yeah, ultimately, like big week, right? Like MAGA, you're soft and you're insecure for the most part. Some of you out there, it's not you, okay? But you're over
Most
here
of them
buddying
are
up
MAGA,
with,
the Republicans.
yeah, but even the ones that are, and you're not that way, you're buddying up with pussies. Your friends are pussies. And leave it at that. But yeah, so till next week, right? We're gonna push forward. We're gonna have another week. We're gonna see what kind of fun and exciting shit we do. I think we should come back to the table with an update on India and Pakistan next week, and if we get our shit together. But until then, it's definitely Bluebird on your shoulder. I'm seeing more views and subscribers, and I appreciate that. Thanks everybody. It's awesome. We're getting good feedback. If you think we suck, you should comment.
Yeah,
So
please. Any comments that you have, if you like it, dislike it, what you want to see different, what you want us to talk about.
Right. Want us to do it with coats on or less clothes on, whatever. It doesn't matter. So nope, don't do it. Don't do it. We're on YouTube. It's gonna be friendly. So all right, everyone, you have a great week. We'll see you next week with Bluebird on your shoulder. Please like and subscribe.
See ya.